Alright guys, welcome back to another video. And in this one we're going to build upon the other video I dropped the other day about how to identify storm structure on the southwest side of a supercell, especially a rain-wrapped one. But in this case we're going to be breaking down a supercell from the forward flank or to the southeast side of a supercell or directly in front. So basically a supercell that is heading in your direction and you are standing directly in its path. So first of all, we're going to start off by going over some basic storm structure from the radar perspective. So here, this big blob circled in purple here, that's going to be your forward flank downdraft or your rain core, right? This is where all your heavy rain is going to fall that accumulates on the forward side of a supercell. So whenever you see this giant blob on radar, whether you're watching on the news or you're just checking it out for yourself, that's where all your rain is, and that's your forward flank downdraft. Here outlined in purple, you'll find the inflow notch, or the clear slot. This is the area of clear air that separates the area of rotation in the mesocyclone from the area of the forward flank precipitation. And whenever you see me referred to in the field as a clear slot, it's that area of clear air that you see between the mesocyclone and the forward flank. Here outlined in purple, once again, I have what's called the rear flank downdraft. And what the rear flank downdraft does is it's a rain-cooled air that wraps around the backside of a supercell that's being impacted by wind shear, and it wraps it around and creates a gust front that wraps around into the clear slot and interacts with the inflow, and that's where you get your rotation. So here I have the inflow and the rear flank downdraft put on the same graphic, and in there in the blue is where your inflow, the warm moist air, rides in through the inflow channel on the eastern side of the supercell into the inflow channel and wraps around and meets the rear flank downdraft. And there at that point is where you get your lowering of your mesocyclone, as you get that cyclonic rotation that eventually lowers all the way to the ground to create a tornado right there in between those purple and blue lines, right there at the end of that debris ball. Now here, taking a look at a supercell diagram, or at least a classic supercell diagram, looking west position from the southeast of a supercell. This is what a supercell should look like when you're looking at it in the field. And as you can see, you got your forward flank downdraft that's being shown by the precipitation there on the right side of the supercell. And just like on radar, to the left of that forward flank precipitation, you have your wall cloud, your rain-free base, and your mesocyclone that protrudes down, which is your wall cloud, which in fact is where your tornado comes down from. So that area between the precipitation and the wall cloud would be your area where your clear slot would develop, especially as it gets closer. The clear slot becomes a lot more defined, but the clear slot is a great indicator for tornado genesis that is about to occur, because that tells you the low-level mesocyclone is separate from the forward flank and it's able to channel that rotation into a specific area. It's a really delicate balance between all the factors at play, but when it all comes together, the features are unmistakable. So moving on to the field, as you can see here, I'm looking at this supercell that's off to my west, and you can clearly see the rain-free base lowering that is starting to develop. And to the right there, outlined in purple, you can see the forward flank downdraft that's being showed by that increased area of rain and the hazy air. And as it continued throughout the evening, you started to see the development of your mesocyclone, which is your wall cloud, starting to slowly creep its way down. Now, the clear slot isn't entirely visible, or at least clearly defined, but as we get closer to tornado genesis, it becomes a lot more well-defined. But another little tidbit, your wall cloud and developing mesocyclone will always be toward the right, closer to the forward flank downdraft. It will never be all the way to the left side of the rain-free base. It'll always be tucked in there to the right. Now, starting the time lapse, we'll let the supercell get a little closer, and as it continues to get close, you'll be able to see the mesocyclone start to really separate itself from the rest of the supercell. And as it gets really close, you can really see right here, that's your clear slot. You see that clear air? You can actually see the sun poking through all the way. That's a really well-defined clear slot. Honestly, one of the most well-defined clear slots I've ever seen. But that's what we call the inflow channel, and that's where the inflow is wrapping around as it comes in from the right side of the supercell into the rotation, as you can see here. The same type of diagram that we used for the supercell earlier, You can see your rear flank downdraft that's facing me, wrapping all the way around. And then you see the purple, you see the inflow ripping in from the eastern side of the supercell and be able to flow through that inflow channel and wrap around into the mesocyclone. And that's where you have your low-level rotation. And just moments after that still shot was taken, we have tornado genesis, as all the factors are able to come in together and function in harmony just long enough, that perfect balance, you get that tornado to be able to form, as you see that perfect structure. Another important thing to mention is if you already have all these other features in play, a major uptick in lightning just shortly before tornado genesis is something that has been noted many times before the production of tornadoes. So if you ever see these structures already in place and you just see a random intense uptick in lightning, that can be something to preclude tornado genesis, as you have a strengthening supercell. But as you can see here, you had the beautiful cone tornado as it continued down, and you had all the right ingredients come into play to be able to not only have warm, moist air come in, but have it wrap around and rotate, have the clear slot develop, have the mesocyclone develop and work its way down, and you were able to get the low-level rotation needed to produce a tornado. I'll go ahead and include the rest of the time lapse I have of this supercell producing multiple tornadoes going forward. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up the educational part of it, and I hope this was able to help somebody in the future going through, people who are trying to learn storm structure. And I appreciate you guys for watching, and if you have any questions, drop them down below. I'd be more than happy to answer them. But yeah, we're going to leave off the video here. I appreciate y'all for watching.